Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Last Children's Channel. In this week's story, we hear how Egypt and the surrounding regions suffered horrendous famine. The 7 years of famine in Egypt were experienced throughout the region. When Joseph's brothers travelled to Egypt to obtain grain, Joseph didn't reveal his identity until he saw that they were truly sorry for the things they had done in the past. He revealed his identity, forgave them, and invited his father and family to come and live in Egypt. Pharaoh welcomed Joseph's family and gave them the land of Goshen to live in. So let's hear the story, do the craft, and we'll see what Joseph did to Benjamin, the younger brother. I hope you all have a lovely week, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
One, two, three, four. Who's the king of the jungle? Who's the king of the sea? Who's the king of the universe? And who's the king of me? I tell you, J-E-S-U-S. He's the king of me. He's the king of the universe, the jungle and the sea. Who's the king of the jungle? Who's the king of the sea? Who's the king of the universe? And who's the king of me? I tell you, J-E-S-U-S. He's the king of me. He's the king of the universe, the jungle and the sea. One more time. Who's the king of the jungle? Who's the king of the sea? Who's the king of the universe? And who's the king of me? I tell you, J-E-S-U-S. He's the king of me. He's the king of the universe, the jungle and the sea. Bubble, bubble, bubble.
Hello, it's nice to see you, and I hope you're ready for today's story. We're going to do a bit of a reminder of the end of last week's story to help you remember where we had got up to with Joseph. If you remember, Joseph had helped Pharaoh to work out what his dream about fat cows and skinny cows meant. And the king was so impressed with Joseph's answer that not only did he keep him out of prison, but he made him a very important person. He gave him a very important job, which was to look after the storage of all the food, so that while they had plenty of food, they could put it all away, ready for years when there wasn't so much. So all the people would have plenty to eat. And Joseph was second in command to Pharaoh, so he was a really important person. Now, today we're going to have a story about the next part of Joseph's life where he had a bit of a family reunion. I don't know whether you've been to family reunions or maybe family parties or weddings where you see lots of different people from your family. Well, Joseph had lots of people in his family. He had lots of brothers. And I think he had a sister as well, but we're just going to hear about the brothers today because they're the ones who were very, very mean to him, if you remember. We're going to see if they've changed. Now, I'm going to remind you of their names. I'm going to hold up pictures, and you've got to be really, really clever because you've got to be able to read backwards. So I'm going to hold up the pictures. I'm going to say their names, starting with the oldest brother, and I want you to see if you can find them on the picture. Are you ready? Here we go. I hope you can see them all. So we have Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, Gad, Asher, Dan, Naphtali, Joseph, who is the one we're talking about, and the baby of the family was Benjamin. I hope you've spotted them all and that you're really good at reading backwards. Okay, so that's a reminder of the people in our story today. Now, there was a famine in the land and there was not a lot to eat. There was only one place that had plenty of food, and that place was Egypt. And that was because Joseph had been in charge of keeping all the food, storing it all away, harvesting it and storing it away, ready for when there was famine. And famine is when all the crops fail, there's maybe been no rain to make the crops grow, and there's nothing for anybody to eat. So Egypt had enough food, and so people from different countries were coming to ask if they could have some food. And one day there was a knock at Joseph's door, and when he answered it, who should be standing there but his 11 brothers? I'm not going to ask you for their names, but you might be able to remember some of them. And they bowed down to him, and they even kissed his feet. And they begged, "Kind sir, we've come to Egypt all the way from the land of Canaan. We have no food, we're starving. Please, can we have some food?" They didn't recognise Joseph. They didn't know it was their brother because he was wearing amazing clothes. He looked a bit like Pharaoh. He had very expensive clothes. He stared at his brothers. He knew who they were, but he realised they didn't recognise him. "Okay," he said in his very important voice, "I will sell you some food." And he ordered his servants to load his brothers' animals. But that wasn't all he told them to do. He said to the servant, "Take one of my silver cups." It was probably a cup a little bit like this. I don't know if you use a cup like that at home. Your mum and dad might use a cup a little bit like this, or a glass that looks like this. But he told the servant to hide it in the sack of food that was tied to the youngest brother's donkey. Can you remember the name of the youngest brother? It began with B. It was Benjamin. So the servant took some sack and he wrapped up the silver cup and he put it at the top of Benjamin's sack. When Joseph's brother reached the edge of the city, his servants stopped them and searched through their sacks. And what do you think they found? They found the silver cup. "We don't know how it got there," the brothers said to Joseph. "Your brother stole it, that's how," Joseph answered. "So he must stay here in Egypt with me." "No, please," begged the brothers. "That would break our father's heart. He loves Benjamin. Keep one of us instead." When Joseph heard that, he knew his brothers had changed. So he told them who he was right there and then. "I'm Joseph," he announced, "your long-lost brother." This news didn't make his brothers feel any better. They were frightened. In fact, they could hardly speak. They thought they were going to be in trouble because they'd been so mean to Joseph. "Don't be afraid," said Joseph. "I forgive you. You meant to hurt me. But God used what you did to save us all from this terrible famine. Now go, fetch my father and the rest of our family, and they can come and live in Egypt with me, where there's plenty of food for everyone to eat." The brothers looked up, and the brothers grinned. The brothers cheered, "Yay!" And after a lot of hugging and helloing and handshaking, they set off for Canaan to tell Jacob, their father, the good news. And Joseph sat back on his throne and smiled and thanked God for making his dreams come true. So we see again that God had an amazing plan for Joseph. And he didn't realise how it was going to work out, but God knew all along. God had a plan for him and his family. So you need to wait till next week to get the next part of the Joseph story. I hope you've enjoyed it. Bye.
Well, good morning, Mary.
Good morning, Glyn.
Mary, this is our last craft time, isn't it?
It is our last time.
Our last tuft crime.
Whatever.
Obviously, I can't
What
get...
is a toft crime?
I don't know. What is a tough crime?
I don't know.
Oh,
Well.
we might be hearing about crime in today's story.
Yeah, good link. A good link. So what are we going to be doing today?
We're going to be making a bag of grain with a silver cup in it.
Oh, that cup looks so good.
It does, doesn't it? And I think perhaps you could adjust it later when I cut it out. You can do your little bit of drawing on it.
All right. So tell us, what's the link with the story?
The story is that Joseph's brothers go to Egypt.
Yeah.
And they meet Joseph, but they don't recognise Joseph to start with. And Joseph plants a silver cup in one of the brothers' bags.
Ah, which brother is it?
It's the youngest brother, Benjamin.
Excellent. So, all right, let's get started.
Right.
What do we need to do?
You need to have a piece of paper. It doesn't matter what colour. I use sort of yellowy.
Okay.
And then you just need to make a sack shape. I'm just going to draw around mine to make it a bit quicker.
A sack shape. So what sort of shape is a sack shape?
Like a bag, isn't it?
Sort of a bag. So that's... So if you drew if you had like a rectangle of card,
You could, yeah.
you could use that too.
You could. You don't have to draw.
Look, I'll come around that side. You can see
And
it.
then you just need to...
Okay. So you can sort of interpret what you think a bag shape
Yeah.
is.
Well, yeah, exactly.
So it's like a rectangle with dips in the sides.
It is. But it could just be a rectangle because you get different
Yeah.
types. And then I'm going to draw a bit across here so it looks like it's
That's the open
the
bit.
open bit.
Okay.
And then I'm going to put some glue on.
Okay.
Smother it in glue.
All right.
And it doesn't have to be Pritt stick, it can be
So-
any kind of glue.
Okay. And so then now we're going to put, what is it? Is this?
I'm going to use rice, but if
Rice.
you've got corn at home,
Okay. It's like rice pudding, isn't
yeah,
it?
it's like rice. Okay.
Oh, look at that! It's all stuck on there.
Right, and then you need
good.
a bit of string just to go across the front, so like it looks
Like it's been
gonna be
tied on. Okay. You could actually tie it all the way
You
round there,
could.
couldn't you?
You could. The sun's come out.
Yeah. It's quite warm in the sun actually. Quite nice. So, right. So do you need a little bit of glue on the back
You
just
probably
to
need a
hold
little
that?
bit of glue on
yeah.
the back, yeah. I was just worried my rice might fall off.
Oh, I see. Right. That's not good when your rice falls off.
Maybe you should stick the ribbon, the rope on first before
Yes, that's not a bad idea.
and then it just looks like it's being tied together.
Okay. Like it's got a knot in it. Or
Knot
you
in
could
it.
actually knot
You
a piece
could
round
knot
it, couldn't
around it, yes.
you? Yeah. Good ideas.
Right, and then we're going to make a little
Robert,
cup.
now, where did you get that silver card?
I had it in my cupboard.
Okay,
But
so
you can use, you could use tin foil, cover a piece of plain card in tin foil.
yeah, so if you got a piece of paper, a card, and you put Pritt stick on it and then covered it in tin foil, it would look exactly the same, wouldn't it?
It would.
Now, what you're drawing there,
I'm making a little goblet, like a wine goblet.
okay, you sure that's a wine goblet?
Well,
Looks more like a dumbbell. But I'll take your word for it. Oops. You went off camera then.
did I?
Yeah.
Was that because you moved?
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm going
Great.
to stick it on so it looks like it's coming out of the sack.
Like it's hidden amongst the rice.
Amongst the rice. And then you can
Okay.
do you want to do your little bit of...
Oh yeah, okay. So you take the camera. Right, and I'll do this bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to make it look like this is a goblet. So it's not easy. Can you see it? Is it coming through?
It is coming through, yeah.
Okay, and we can do a bit of shading in there. Like that, and maybe do a couple of, because they have that, don't they? And
Yeah.
then round like this. There we go.
There you go.
That looks very goblety.
Goblet. There you go.
Great. So that's hiding
In there.
in the bag. Do you know, I've just had this brilliant idea.
What's that?
It's a brilliant, it's
Go on
so
then.
good that you're going to be impressed.
I am.
Okay, so if you take the camera,
I'll take the camera and go.
and I'm going to take the goblet off like this.
Right, okay.
And I'm going to put a little slit in here like this, right through the rice.
Right through the rice, yeah.
Yeah, like that. And then I'm going to stick this in there like that.
Wow, that's very clever.
I know. There. Now it's really hiding in there.
It is really hiding in the
There we go.
rain.
So we've got the goblet that Joseph put in there. The what would you call it? Not a goblet. What did you call it?
I called it a goblet.
You
Wine
did.
goblet.
Okay, a wine goblet in there because it was expensive, wasn't it?
It was very expensive, and it looked like that Benjamin had stolen it.
That's terrible. Why would Joseph do such a thing?
He wanted to make his brothers realise who he was, and for his
Okay.
elder brother to take the punishment
Right.
of Benjamin.
It's a fantastic story,
It
isn't
is.
it? Are they going to hear the end of it?
They should hear the end of it, yeah.
Fantastic. Right, well, when you have completed yours, don't forget, send us a picture. We won't be
Yeah.
able to put it on next week's craft,
No.
but we will find a way to
try
display
and
them
display them
somehow.
at
That
some
would be
time.
really good. And thank you so much for being with us week by week over the last few weeks. And a big thank you to you, Mary.
Thank you. No, I've enjoyed it. It's been fun.
Good.
Nice though to be back in person though.
It is, isn't it?
Yes.
Have a really wonderful week, everybody. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Jesus is the King, ruler over everything. Jesus is the one, promised one, the Son of God. Jesus is the Lord, He's the one you can't ignore. Jesus, Jesus, He is the King. He is the King. He commanded the fishermen, hey, come follow me. And they did, and they did, and they did, because Jesus is the King, ruler over everything. Jesus is the one, promised one, the Son of God. Jesus is the Lord, He's the one you can't ignore. Jesus, Jesus, He is the King. He is the King. He commanded the evil ones, hey, come out of him. And they did, and they did, and they did, because Jesus is the King, ruler over everything. Jesus is the one, promised one, the Son of God. Jesus is the Lord, He's the one you can't ignore. Jesus, Jesus, He is the King. He is the King. He commanded the wind and waves, hey, be still, be still. And they did, and they did, and they did, because Jesus is the King, ruler over everything. Jesus is the one, promised one, the Son of God. Jesus is the Lord, He's the one you can't ignore. Jesus, Jesus, He is the King. He is the King. He promised that 3 days after death He'd rise again. And He did, and He did, and He did, because Jesus is the King, ruler over everything. Jesus is the one, promised one, the Son of God. Jesus is the Lord, He's the one you can't ignore. Jesus, Jesus, He is the King.